This is Bad Marriages in the Bible, and we are your hosts. I'm Sean.
I'm Kate.
And we are the founders of Dandelion Ministries, where we've refined our vision/mission statement, where we use creative expression to magnify the grace of Jesus Christ in the place of pain. So that is our new refined tagline for you all. It'll be on our new revised website. That's maybe by the time this episode is up, it'll be up. Who knows? No guarantees. But we really want. We used to say need. We thought we'd get more specific. It's actually where you're hurting, and that is where you need to hear word of grace. And we want to magnify that grace for you in that place. And the reality is that Jesus is already there, and he is the one that brings the place of pain up so that he can heal it, so that you can see him heal it, so that you can see him at work in you. This is what we've been looking at throughout the Bible. This is how he does his work upon us. We are delusional, and we are completely numbing out all the time. We are trying to ignore it. We are trying to sweep things under the rug. We are ignoring the elephant in the room. All of these things. If you have any experience with addiction in your life or with an addict, then you know this. That's one of the playful and yet truly sad things that they say in 12-step rooms, which is, how do you know when an addict is lying? Their mouth is moving. And so that's the reality is, and that, it sounds so bad for addicts, those poor people, but they're all there this is them telling them on themselves and admitting this because they know the tricks they've played on themselves and on everybody else. And the wonderful thing about addicts in recovery is that the denial has stopped. The rest of us, everybody out there who thinks, a 12-step, it's for people who are really messed up, the 12-step people. You are doing it right now. You are in denial, and you are deluding yourself. This is the reality.
This is why God writes things like Hosea.
It's exactly why.
In fact, it's in Hosea 8. We're going to start with 7 and 8, chapter 7 and 8. And they're saying to God, we know you. We know you. And he's saying, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. We're good people. We know you. We're going to go to heaven.
Yeah.
You do not know me. You do not know my ways. You don't know anything about my ways.
That's right. So that's why we say that, magnifying his grace in your place of pain, because the truth is that's where, as C.S. Lewis famously said, that's how God gets your attention. He uses a megaphone of pain to get your attention in this world. And the world is a broken place, and we are the reasons for that. And we are broken, and we're all desperate for a word of healing. And there is one. That's the word that follows the word of conviction, the word of law. The word of law comes and says, you're not good. And despite all your efforts, your best efforts to be good, that's just proving how broken you are. And what you need is to be saved. You need to be raised to new life. So this is where we are in the Old Testament. We've been seeing this pattern replay itself over and over and over again throughout the Bible so far, because God is wanting us to hear it again and again and again every day, that you can't save yourself, but I have come to save you. And it's okay. I forgive you. So this is what we're doing. And Hosea is just like that. Hosea is a book, one of the minor prophets. We've done the intro on it for the past few episodes. And so you can know the context. He's sent to the northern kingdom. The northern kingdom is in a time of prosperity. And they completely believe their own press, and they think they're fine. And God sends Hosea to tell them, you're not fine. Your hearts are far from me, and I am going to actually send you into exile. It's going to get really bad.
And that word of conviction and awakening, it's different depending on the audience and what they need the most. He does use pain. Romans 1, it says God's kindness leads us to repentance. Here we're talking about the pain that he's going to bring through the slaughter of the Assyrians, but it's because he loves them so much. It's because he is a lover, a passionate lover who loves us and has attached himself to us. So in a culture today where we are, totally numbing out because we feel so lonely all the time, and we grow up without the kind of attachment that we need, that we have a God who has firmly attached himself to us and fights for us and has won and loves us enough to tell us the truth and to do what we cannot do about the addictions that are in us, the subtle ones, the overt ones. He's able to do what we cannot do, and loves us enough to do that. And so it can take, it's always gracious and loving, whatever he's doing. You've said this many times on this podcast, his wrath is his love directed at sin.
Mm-hmm.
So even this invading army that he's going to bring, the Assyrians, it's his love directed at sin.
It is.
And so there's, and if you're in a place of real brokenness, you're probably going to encounter, Jesus was very tender towards those who knew that they were broken. But here, Hosea is confronting a society that's in the height of its prosperity and thinks it's very good and thinks it knows everything about God. And he is breaking through that denial with a word of a real conviction.
Yeah. It's like the jovial drunk, that kind of like, oh, they're so delightful, like the fun drunk, as opposed to the mean one. And, or whatever it is. I mean, a movie that I love that I think I've shared before on this podcast is my autobiography or just biography, is Runaway Bride. And the scene, if you have seen it, I'm going to spoil. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to spoil it a little bit for you. Julia Roberts, Richard Gere, and she can't figure out who she really loves, and she's getting into all these relationships and all this, and she kind of disappears into the man that she's with at each point. And Richard Gere, of course, kind of sniffs all this out. And but you learn it's because she is the daughter of an alcoholic, and her father is a drunk. He's a really nice one, though. And they show her at one point taking her drunken father out of the bar and getting him into the truck. And Richard Gere kind of comes upon her and when this is happening and helps her put him in the truck. And she's like, please don't say anything about this, because he's a reporter writing about things. And he's like, no, of course not. But you see that she has spent her whole life trying to cope with the reality of her father's addiction, even though the town kind of thinks he's a delight. It's been completely devastating to her, and it has robbed her of an identity, so that's the reality of our addiction. Even when it seems like things are good, it's killing someone. It's killing you. It is killing you. I mean, it's not good for you, but it is hurting you, and it is hurting the people around you, the people you love the most. And God is jealous. This is what the scriptures say. He is a jealous God. And in the best sense of that word, that he actually gives a damn about you. Mm-hmm. And he gives a damn about what's happening to you and what's happening to the people that you love and that love you. And he's going to defend you. And that means, as one of our friends, who he probably doesn't even remember we exist, but we had him do a few conferences, Stephen Paulson, a guy that we really, a professor and Lutheran professor that we really love, he would say it all the time that God loves you so much that he's willing to kill you to get you. And that's because that's exactly what we need. We need to actually, that part of us that thinks we're okay, that thinks if maybe I screwed up a little bit, if I just try a little harder next time. I mean, it's just think of the addict in your life, or think of your own addiction, where you just think, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. You're going to resolve, you're going to, white knuckle it. God is saying, no, I'm actually going to put that to death. You need to die. Your effort's not getting you there, and he's going to put you to death so that he can raise you to new life. And that is what he's doing here in the book of Hosea. It's what he's doing throughout scripture, through all of his people. And this is exactly what Jesus does, as Kate said, to those whose lives have already ripped off the veil. The delusion has been taken away, or they're caught in adultery, or they're the Samaritan woman who's had 5 husbands, and now the one she's with is not her husband, The demoniacs, the cripples, these people don't need to be sobered up. They know. And so he gives them just grace, pure forgiveness.
They're ready for it.
No conditions, none of it. The people that come to him who think they're achieving or think that they're on the path of righteousness, the Pharisees, the rich young ruler, Peter himself, all of these folks, he says the one thing. He could hammer them with so many things, but he always says the one thing that is just going to convict the heck out of that person, To the rich young ruler, go sell everything you've got. It's great. You're doing everything that's awesome. Go sell everything you've got and follow me. Crushes the guy. The one thing he can't do because he just went after his idol. The Pharisees saying they're whitewashed tombs, like you guys, you think you are teaching my people, you're destroying them, and Peter's like, I'll never betray you, Lord. And he's like, you are going to deny me 3 times. He goes after that because he doesn't want you to be putting your faith in anything other than him. Everything else is death. This is the reality.
In fact, I would say, and this is why it's worth sticking with these lengthy chapters of judgment.
It can be exhausting.
But each one has a unique phrasing, a unique way of describing, of diagnosing the sin. And that's, the Lord is diagnosing sin all over. That's what the law does. That's what his commands and his judgment and his grieving over the sin does. It's diagnosing the problem all over the place so that you might see yours described. It might jerk you out of your denial and you might have yours described and you'll be cut to the core in a good way. And then you'll realize, wow, there's a God who actually loves me and knows what I'm going through and knows what I've been turning to and loves me more than this. I think there's a good summary in Hosea chapter 7, verse 9. And it says, strangers devour his strength. So this is for a nation who's at its height of success right now. But he's saying, strangers, you're not as strong as you think. You're not as strong as you think. You're seeing these enemies begin to gain strength. The Assyrian army is gaining strength. You're starting to look to Egypt or somewhere else for your security, or make peace with the Assyrians. But they're going to devour your strength, and they already are. So just like what you're talking about, when we think our secrets, aren't affecting anybody else, the Lord cares about you and your strength, and it always is affecting somebody else.
It is,
even if you're a nice drunk, it's affecting somebody else.
It is. Well, and it's also the beginning of 7. We touched on 7 last time, but we didn't cover everything, as Kate just said. And verse 2 is he says, they don't consider that I remember all their evil. And that sounds bad. These are all the things that we're trying to prevent. We are trying to run from this all the time. Like, I don't want anybody to know about this, that, or the other. We're trying to hide parts of ourselves. And God is saying, I know all of it. I know all of your evil. And I am saying that because I am actually, like you just said, I actually care. I actually love you. And the reality is, if you were to what we think we want is somebody to enable us. We think we want somebody to be like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine. Just keep going. Do whatever you're doing. And then we're like, great. It just, because it prevents that hard confrontation, the painful reality of having your stuff laid bare in front of others and yourself, even though everybody knows it. We want the enabler to tell us, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. But the reality is that it gives us that immediate kind of relief because we don't have the confrontation, or we're not, faced with our sin. But what we're left with is we go off and we continue to suffer. We continue to hurt. We continue to know. We have shame riddled in our brains. And God is like, enough. I'm going to bring all this out so that you can actually experience real healing, so that it loses power. There's no more shame. We're going to face this thing. It makes me think of another movie, Crazy Stupid Love, which is hilarious, with Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling. And Ryan Gosling is this Casanova, dude who's always, mentoring Steve Carell, who's going through a breakup in his marriage and he's having a miserable time. And Ryan Gosling is teaching him how to get women and how to be very suave. And it's all very, very funny because Steve Carell's hilarious. And so is Ryan Gosling. But Ryan Gosling finally meets a girl that he likes. And it happens to be Steve Carell's daughter. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. But then when they're actually together, they go home and she's kind of thinking she wants the guy that he presents himself to be, which is, going to sweep her off her feet and just basically have sex with her. And that'd be that, get it out of her system. But they actually connect. And as they connect, she starts talking to him about his ridiculous possessions he has because he's a wealthy guy and everything like that. And he ends up saying, he's like, I'm actually miserable. I'm woefully unhappy. And it's because he has been enabled. He's living the dream as far as the world's concerned. And the world just looks at him and says, yeah, everything you're doing is great. You're this Casanova guy who's good looking, who can go get whatever woman he wants, and you have all this money. But he is desperate for somebody to actually know who he actually is and to stop the cycle. And she does, because it's true love. It is the reverse of Moulin Rouge. It's a softer, funnier version where she saves him and he's the prostitute. Yeah. He's prostituting himself. But that's what God is doing. He's coming in and saying, no. I actually am going to stop this. Yeah. The whole cycle of shame that's driving you back out into the street, that's making you want to bury yourself in another empty one-night stand. I'm going to stop the whole thing because I actually care.
He actually cares because this is true love.
Like it's actually real love.
This is what real love feels like. It feels like I want to know you. I do know you, and I want you to know me. I want to be known, and I want to belong to each other. And that is the passion of love. And it, romantic love is an echo. It finds its source in God. And
yes.
His love here for them, where he's going to go after them. And like what you were beginning to say, when we don't know him and we are sort of stuck in our sin, then he is coming, always remembering our sin, coming to attack it, coming to bring an end to it.
To bring light to it, just like no more hiding, like to show it for what it is.
Yeah. But then once you do know him in that place, you know immediately that he loves you. It's all forgiven and he's come to bring you home. And you belong to him. And you've been rescued. And then he remembers your sin no more.
Yeah, it's removed from you as far as the east is to the west, the psalmist says.
Yes, and so you see him coming saying, I remember your sin, when he's like calling it out to put it to death.
Well, when you're carrying it.
When you're stuck in it.
When you think your sin is something you can manage, which is all of us. We all think we can manage our lives.
Christians and non-Christians.
Yeah, we can hide it. We can manage
in the
this.
Old Testament version, the people, the Jewish people by faith who were believing him, but also, those who were kind of just around. Everybody's dealing with that problem of sin.
Yeah. And we all are convincing ourselves that it's not so bad. We can do it. Just give me a little more time. Just give me another chance. I can do it. It's okay. Just tell me what to do. I'll make it right. Blah, blah, blah. We are compromising. We're trying to negotiate all the time with the law. And we can't. And God is like, no. Because we're trying to hold this thing that we cannot hold. It's killing us. But what you just said is when he takes it, that is where the reason why he forgets it completely is because it gets swallowed up in his son. Jesus takes all of this and he does it willingly and intentionally, comes to save us. And he says, that is not yours anymore. You can't carry this burden. It's killing you. I am taking it, and I can carry it, and I'm going to put it to death in my body. And then the sin is gone. It is gone. You're walking. We can get into more of that later, but of the idea of like we still deal with our sin in this life, but as far as he is concerned, when he looks at us, he sees his perfect son. He sees Jesus's death and resurrection for us, and Jesus sees his bride, who he has given everything for, and has taken your sin from you. And so that's where your sin, It's the only person that can carry it and that can actually deal with it. And he does something with it and he puts it to death.
It's that word of forgiveness that actually leads you in recovery. If you're ever go into recovery for addiction,
Yeah.
which I hope you do. We all need it for our different things. That is the promise that leads you, and is that there's a God who's bigger than this, who's bigger than me. I'm powerless against this, but he's not, and he's for me. He's for me, and he's guiding, giving me like new desires, and you write them out and you do them. You make your amends.
Yeah.
You make your amends, and you want to make the amends. You want to make the amends more than you want to do what you were doing before, because you get sick of it. You get sick of it, whether it's harboring resentment or sacrificing, like actively, hunting after money, in a way that's like totally destroying your relationships, or you have like, an addiction to a substance. The change will happen when he has intervened with his forgiveness and his grace, that you won't like that anymore. You'll get sick of it and you want something else, and you're willing to do what it takes, for health, for healing.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the promise of intervention that we see in 7:10.
That's right.
7:10. And he's describing earlier in chapter 7 that sin is cooking in us like an oven. And it's getting hotter and hotter, and we're cooking. So he says that, kind of over and over again, 7 verses 4, 6, and 7, which I just found an interesting metaphor, kind of disgusting, but interesting.
The oven.
Yeah, you're sort of heating up with it. But then the Lord intervenes in verse 12 of chapter 7. He will spread his net. He will bring them down. He will discipline them. In chapter 8:6, he will break that calf that they've been worshiping to pieces.
Mm.
So the Lord, this is true love. I want you to know me. I want you to know my mercy. And I know that this is killing you. This is destroying your strength. This is making you weak. And so he will lean in and deliver you from the things that you're worshiping.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a promise right there. And so I think we're ready to move on. Historically, into chapter 8 and 9, historically, what Hosea is seeing is that God is going to bring that end to sin. He's going to bring that judgment by this Assyrian army that's gaining strength around this very prosperous northern kingdom. He's saying the Assyrians are going to come. They're going to come, and they are going to take over. They are going to slaughter your children. They're going to exile you into their countries, and you're going to never to return again. And some will remain, and they will intermarry, and they will become the Samaritans, like what you were talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
But Hosea is preparing them for this, so that they're not surprised when it happens. And in the moment, I'm sure he was like, I want you guys to turn back to the Lord. I'm screaming out loud here. He describes himself in chapter 9, verse 7, that he is a fool. He's going mad trying to reach these people. He's like going nuts trying to break through to them. So on the ground, God has given him this like passionate word to try to turn his people back. But it won't be enough. it'll still, the Assyrians are still going to come, and they're still going to bring that judgment.
Yeah. His call is to tell them what's coming, and his heart is there. I mean, that the Lord has broken his heart for these people, and so he is actually anguishing over it. And so the Lord has given him a glimpse into his heart for them, so it actually hurts. And that's real when you love someone and they are functioning in their choices and they're not able to change their situation when they're bound, and it hurts, and your heart grieves for them. And our hope is the same as Hosea's, which is God's not, again, he's not bringing this up just to be like, oh, look at this thing I can't do anything about. He's bringing it up because he's going to do something. And so, in those moments where he gives you compassion and the desire to want to speak honestly with a friend or a loved one, you may not be able to, they may not change because of what you say or whatever, but the fact that God's bringing it up and calling you to confront them, or whatever it may be, that means he's actually at work. He's going to do something. He's not just letting them go, and that's good news. It's the same thing to remember when someone confronts you. It's like, oh, well, God has moved on this person. They love me enough to say something. And that's what we see with Hosea. And we see the wording throughout these chapters where he uses the word woe. It's like, woe, where is it in chapter 7?
7,
woe
12.
to them, for they have strayed from me. And he says it again in a couple times as
9:12 too.
Yeah.
Woe to them when I depart from them.
And that's the word of grieving somebody who's died. It is the, you think of the, in scripture, there's often like they tear their clothes, they put ash on their head, and they wear sackcloth. It's that kind of imagery of just like true devastation, grief. And that is the word of the Lord, the word of his heart, woe to them. He is so, he is grieved over their sin and over their desire to stray, frankly, to run away. And Hosea is echoing that. And God is saying all that not because he's unable to do anything. That's what we've been saying this whole time, is it's because he's going to do something. It's the same thing when Jesus weeps, he weeps with Mary and Martha over Lazarus, and he knows what he's going to do. He's going to raise him from the dead, but he also knows the pain and feels it more than we feel about ourselves, and it's a beautiful picture. It's a sad one, but it's a beautiful picture into how much he loves you, his passion for you, and how aggressive he will defend you. Aggressively, he will defend you.
That's right. And so chapter 9, you said this, that Hosea is sort of warning them before it happens, and he's interpreting it for them too. In Hosea 9:7, the days of punishment have come. The days of recompense have come, and Israel shall know it. So when this comes, when the end of your culture, when the end of everything you've known, your prosperity, but also the land, that God promised you, and your home, when all of that happens, that is a judgment on all this sin. And that's a very hard word. But God, this is only like a partial judgment. It's like a taste of what judgment for sin is. Because remember, Hosea is in there in the midst of them. God's been sending Elijah, Hosea.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, he's in the southern kingdom. In the northern kingdom, though, there's like all of these,
right.
All these prophets that he sent there. More than... Jonah, who the Assyrian army is going to come and attack and destroy the northern kingdom. But the capital of Assyria is Nineveh.
Right.
And everybody knows the story about Jonah, and Jonah did not want to go and help this city repent and turn to the Lord, because that is the capital of Assyria. Like that's how much. Yes, God was bringing judgment on sin, but he was sending his prophets in all over the place who are with his people, suffering with his people, saying, God has not forgotten you. He's not left you. You're not really encountering the full weight of sin, where you get abandoned and separated from the holiness of God. Mm-hmm. You're not really encountering that. He has sent his people to suffer and with them and to remind them of his words, and to be with them in the midst of their suffering. Yes, he's giving them a taste of the consequences of their actions. Yes, he is giving them a taste of the punishment of their sin. But the full punishment would be coming on himself, on his own son.
He would take it.
who will willingly take that in our stead, because we could not turn ourselves to God. So God turned us to him. We could not go to God. We were so stuck in our sin, so in denial. So he came to us and he walked amongst us. And he took that sin and absorbed it upon himself and put it to death on the cross. So that's where all of the judgment that is partial, it's very hard for those living through it, but it is partial and it's pointing forward to a God who is able to deliver you once and for all from sin and even from death. The worst thing that can happen to us is not actually death, but it's not knowing his mercy.
All right, separation from him, yeah. And it's because he loves us, as you're saying. It's because we are his bride. I mean, this, again, is probably important to tie this back into our title of this podcast, Bad Marriages in the Bible. I mean, we are the unfaithful one. We are Gomer, and as we've said in previous episodes, and he is jealous, and he's come for us, and he loves us that much. And it is to have actual peace with him. It's one of my favorite parts of the New Testament in the narratives about Jesus' birth, when the angels come and they say peace on earth, goodwill towards humanity. Because that's why he's doing it, guys. He's doing it so that we might be actually at peace with him and with ourselves and with others. So we may actually know love and actually know freedom. Because without him, we are bound, we are dead, all of that, and he wants us to live, and he wants us to have the life more abundant. This is why he takes us through the death.
Exactly. If you make it through Hosea, it's like kind of making it through the first few chapters of Romans or any of the woes. Like
Lots of the Bible.
Jesus is very confrontational, of sin. He is very confrontational. He does the woes too against those who are self-sufficient, self-righteous. So if you make it through all of this, then when you hear about how God has, in Jesus, has torn down the dividing wall of hostility and has made peace through his blood, you realize, gosh, how much I need that, because I'm relating to, all the half-hearted stuff, all of the, I was, satisfied with this or that, instead of the Lord. And, I wanted to minimize my sin, but yet it was affecting somebody else. Like, those are all things that a Christian still deals with. And so when you read these, you can, he's probably going to convict you in some way, and make you more grateful for his strength and his intervention and his passion for you. And you'll feel like really loved. There's like a God who is quite passionate about me. Everybody likes to feel that, so that's what a husband and a wife, you want to keep the passion alive. And it's like, well, confess your sins to each other. Then you will know how much you need grace, and you'll actually get to know each other way better. And I tell you, the passion will be there. If you make it through, if you make it through to reconciliation, which God, if he's initiating it and it's the time, he will see you through that. So you can feel the strength of God's love for you when you read these things. And it shows you the power of those succinct phrases of what Jesus has done for us. It like really comes alive because you've gone through these long narratives of conviction.
Yeah.
So in summary, and we're going to close now, we are reading how God is against sin because he is for you in Jesus. So that would be the summary of Hosea.
That's right.
God is against sin the way a husband is against the betrayal of his bride, because he is for you in Jesus. And you can look at the cross and look at that empty tomb and say, that's real. And he's for me today in my struggles. And he is for me in destroying the idols that are too much for me. And he is for me and able to break through areas where I'm in denial. So Lord, please show them to me. I don't know what they are. And lead in a better way.
That's right. Yeah. He is the husband that we all, that every husband wishes he was, and every wife wishes they had, which is he's the one that actually can absorb the betrayal and take it, and actually loves the bride despite everything.
Yes, and she's the bride that no one wants to be, but everybody is.
That's right. That's right. But that's what we've been saying this episode really, is that he is a God who can do something about it, and he does. And he is stronger. And that is the whole reason why he wrote it down, and why he belabors the point, as we've been saying. He belabors the point because every day you are confronted with something that you turn to again. Every day you need to hear that he is a God who's come after you and he's for you every day. And that's the good news. So we're grateful for you guys listening. We hope you have a wonderful day yourself, and that you walk in that grace and forgiveness that Jesus has won for you. And if you like the show, we'd invite you to support us. You can see it in the show notes. Everything we do is by generous donations from folks. And our website is there for you to check out the things we do at Dandelion. We also have my email in there if you want to send us any questions or prayer needs. We'd love to hear from you. And we hope you have a great day. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.